City Commission meeting to order. It's a regular meeting scheduled for today, July the 10th, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. Ask the commission to lead us in prayer and someone to lead us in a pledge of allegiance.
Looking for volunteers?
Yes, sir. I would like to hear volunteers.
All right, I'll lead us in a quick prayer.
All right,
Thanks.
appreciate that.
Thanks for being here. Heavenly Father, again, we thank you for allowing us to gather here in freedom and peace and safety. We bless those who allow us to do that. Be with those who are infirmed or grieving, and may we behave in a way tonight that is pleasing to you. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes, you get a pen. We get a pen, all of us.
Next item is approval of the agenda. You all check the agenda since last Friday. Are they additions or deletions or any corrections to the agenda? Not will approve the agenda as presented. Thank you, ma'am.
I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 At this point in our agenda is the section where we hear from the public, and we ask the public to wait to be recognized, come to the podium, talk to us about what's on their mind, but it has to be items at this point that are on the agenda only. Am I on there? All right, thank you, sir. So here the public, talk about agenda items only, and we ask you to recognize, identify yourself, and then we'll give you 3 minutes or less. Is there anyone that desires to speak to the public about items on the agenda? All right, thank you all. So let's move right along. So the first item on the agenda is a banner request from Kentucky School for the Deaf. Miss Barbie Harris is going to present that to us.
Hello. Good evening, Mayor Atkins and commissioners and the community. My name is Barbie Harris. I'm a retired teacher from Kentucky School for the Deaf. And for the 200th anniversary of Kentucky School for the Deaf, we've had different events going on, and it's almost come to a close where this summer we're going to be left. And we have three deaf events that are left this month for July. We have the Deaf Youth Sports Event Festival. And it was previously called Mini Deaf Olympics, or MDO. And the person, Tim Owens, his sister, Aline Shaw, and his brother-in-law, Don Shaw. So that's Tim's sister, where Tim has passed away in 2015 due to cancer. So then Beatrice Pfeff became the executive director of Mini Deaf Olympics and has been involved in MDO ever since, and even before that for about 30 years. And MDO was set up and started in 1983, where they got a lot of deaf and hard of hearing children to come and have an opportunity to meet each other and be involved in sports, make friends. And it wasn't just an event that was in Kentucky. It was really, all over in various states. And they've had, over 4,000 kids who have participated. And there's so many wonderful volunteers that have come and are willing to give their time to come and just, be there to support and work with the kids. And they've really have focused on, encouraging the kids. It's not really, trying to focus on, getting great athletes, but just to be able to support the kids. And Tim Owens decided that it would be a really good program to set up. So that's how they started Mini Deaf Olympics, and it's been going ever since. Anyway, so we have a banner request that we would like to hang up just to kind of recognize this week, July 9th through the 15th, as the MDO anniversary. And also, you all are welcome to come to our closing ceremony this Saturday at 9, about 9 to 12. And they're going to be doing like a slideshow with different pictures and just kind of showing the different activities that the kids have been doing in the different sports and the different competitions and, all of the different medals that have been passed out. The kids love it. They, it really builds up a sense of pride for them and just to kind of see what events for that week. And Aline, was explaining about the torch that her brother, that Tim Owens had done in the past. When was it? It was 1960s. He did a torch ceremony. Hello, yes, my name is Lean Shaw. And yes, Tim Owens was my brother, my baby brother. And anyway. And in Louisville, they had a few people that were going to be some staff to kind of help with the Olympics. And Tim was one of the people that they had picked because he was a runner, so that they let him carry the torch. And he was the one who brought the torch up to start it all. And it started in a smaller town, and then they would go kind of from town to town. And then they would, kind of, how it starts the torch, the big burning just starts to kind of kick off the Olympics. So anyway, that's really what we wanted to add. Hold on, we got a picture of the banner. Anyway, so just one more thing. You see the torch. So they carried the torch, and then they decided to buy it. And then once they had it, they gave it to MDO, and then they could kind of carry it on with the opening ceremonies, having a Mr. and a Mrs. Olympian, and then they can carry the torch just from the prior year. And this Friday, they're going to be announcing who is going to be the new Mr. and Mrs. torch carriers for the subsequent year. So, anyway. Okay? All right. So, Beatrice, Puff, did you have any comments? Hello, everyone, hello. MDO is very important for deaf children, deaf and both hard of hearing children, so that they have something to be involved in, and they don't feel alone, and they want to make sure they have opportunities to see other kids like themselves and help them build up self-esteem and identity and confidence in themselves. And it's just really a wonderful opportunity for them to do that. Tim Owens was the one who set it up because he himself grew up and going to different camps where they didn't have one that was just deaf-oriented. They didn't have one like that a long time ago when Tim was a kid. And so it really gave him a feeling of isolation. I think it was, in 1983 that he kind of started working on that, and now here we are at the 40th anniversary. So it's just grown, and we're, so it's big now that it's got to be the 40th anniversary. So and it was all set up by Tim. So my son grew up being involved in MDO as well. And many of the people who have grown up being involved in MDO have actually gone on to help with Olympics and just have different experiences that they got here. So it's really, really wonderful. And many who have participated in MDO as a child have grown up to become volunteers later. So it's a lot. They do a lot. Nobody gets paid, and it's just really great that they come just to kind of work with the kids. And so it's really great that KSD lets us kind of take over their campus and works with us, and to be in partnership with the 200th anniversary and just all of that. So again, anyway, thank you all for your time and your attention to all of our comments. We really appreciate it.
And thank you all for your attendance tonight and for your presentation. And at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion from the commission to approve the banner request.
I move to approve that banner request.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of approving the banner, say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay.
And-
Thank you.
Okay. Do you care to come around here? It would really be great if we could just get a picture really quick with the banner. Can we do that for our slideshow before we leave? Could you all do that?
Yes, ma'am.
Great, thank you. Yeah, grab the banner.
$20 charge.
You take
No. I was telling Don.
Mayor, if I could, I'd like to make a comment before our hearing impaired friends leave, if we can get their attention. I just wanted to let you all know that what's gone on over at West T Hill now, the Addams Family musical has deaf interpreters that are part of the play. And so if you didn't know it, I thought it was very creative and a nice thing to do for our community.
Yes. No, I am. I'm aware of that. So I'm aware of that. So I know that people who aren't from Danville don't know that. So we're trying to get the word out. So where I'd been on vacation, I wasn't able to go, but I have been before. And she said, "What's that?" And she said, "It's West T Hill. It's community theater here in town." And she said, "Louisville, yeah. Louisville has a Shakespeare at the park, and they have interpreters too. So we go to that very, very regularly." And she said, "I want to thank you all for providing interpreters. We really, really appreciate that. So wow, thank you so much. It's such a gift to deaf people. Thank you." Bye.
Yes. Okay, Commissioners, the next item on our agenda is the EDA appointment. Chair would like to entertain a motion to reappoint President John Roush to the EDA.
I move to appoint or reappoint Dr. Roush to the EDA to fulfill the term of Aaron Tipton, term to expire 12/31/25. I hate to see Aaron go.
I'll second.
All right, thank you there. Any other questions or comments about this appointment? If not, the chair would entertain a motion.
I just made a motion.
Oh, did you? I'm sorry. All those in favor of the reappointment of President Rouse?
Aye.
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 Got distracted by the sign language, huh?
Next item is approval of the minutes of the previous meetings. Chair needs a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments, additions or deletions? Hearing those, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, say nay. All right. Next item is second reading of ordinance number 2016, zone change for 60 West Ridge Drive. Madam Clerk, want to read the second reading for us, please?
This is the second reading of ordinance number 2016, an ordinance changing the zone from IBD Industrial Business Development to LI Light Industrial for approximately 2.420 acres, more or less, of real property located at 60 West Ridge Drive in the city of Danville, Kentucky.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a motion?
I move to approve the second reading of ordinance 2016.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? If not, Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Cottle?
Yes.
Commissioner Peak?
Yes.
Mayor Atkins?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Holland?
Yes.
Commissioner Saris?
Yes.
Thank you all. Next item is second reading of ordinance number 2017. Madam Clerk, want to read that for us, please?
This is the second reading of ordinance number 2017, an ordinance changing the zone from RM2 two-family residential to R1C single-family residential for approximately 12.006 acres, more or less, of real property located at 0 Boffman Avenue in the city of Danville, Kentucky.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions or comments?
I move to approve.
Second.
All right. Madam Clerk, do you want to do a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Peak?
Yes.
Mayor Atkins?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Holland?
Yes.
Commissioner Saris?
Yes.
Commissioner Cottle?
Yes, ma'am.
Next item is the second reading of ordinance number 2018. Madam Clerk?
This is the second reading of ordinance 2018, an ordinance changing the zone from IBD Industrial Business Development to CB Central Business for approximately 0.23 acres, more or less, of real property located at 496 and 498 Delahaye Street in the city of Danville, Kentucky.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions or comments? If not, Madam Clerk, roll call vote again.
Mayor Atkins,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Holland,
Yes.
Commissioner Saris,
Yes.
Commissioner Cottle,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Peak.
Yes.
Item number 7, second reading of ordinance number 2019. Madam Clerk, want to read that for us?
This is the second reading of ordinance number 2019, an ordinance amending CDO 2-96 pertaining to the classification plan, compensation plan, and policies and procedures for city personnel.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a motion?
I move to approve the second reading of ordinance 2019.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? If not, Madam Clerk, you want to do roll call vote again?
Commissioner Holland,
Yes.
Commissioner Saris,
Yes.
Commissioner Cottle,
Yes.
Commissioner Peak,
Yes.
Mayor Atkins.
Yes, ma'am. Next item is first reading of ordinance number 2020. Madam Clerk?
This is the first reading of ordinance number 2020, an ordinance enacting and adopting a supplement to the Code of Ordinances of the City of Danville, Kentucky.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? If not, roll call vote again?
Commissioner Saris,
Yes.
Commissioner Cottle,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Peak,
Yes.
Mayor Atkins,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Holland.
Yes.
I just want to comment on how much better Ashley's reading has gotten over the last little bit.
Next item on the agenda is Resolution 2023-07-1001, FEMA Coordinator Designation.
I'll take that, Ashley. The resolution with Ms. Lester's retirement, we need to designate a FEMA person, point of contact, and the resolution should refer that to the city clerk position for the city of Danville. It's positional. That is the person responsible for records and theoretically should be that center point for communication from the state on this issue, or from the feds on this issue.
Okay?
Has Bridget been given lessons or anything? 'Cause she knew it inside and out. That's the only reason I asked.
Bridget was very skilled at this, and will take a long time to sort that out, surely, from where she had it to where it needs to be again. But Ashley has met with Bridget a couple times trying to get oriented in that direction. I think she's got access to her files. And somebody made the comment the other day in a meeting that the mayor and I was in that, it's going to be 2 years for FEMA to get, it was like 10 years worth of legwork for her actually to get reimbursed from FEMA on the ice storm, for example. So that is a significant position, responsibility, that is.
Great treat.
Other comments or questions? We have a motion already?
I'll make a
All
motion
right.
to approve Resolution 2023-07-1001.
Thank you, ma'am.
Second.
All right. Any other questions or comments?
I don't know whether to say congratulations or I'm sorry, but
Yeah. I guess it's safe to assume she accepted this responsibility.
The chair would call for the question then. All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Next item is the city manager report.
Thank you, Mayor Commissioners. One that I had left off on the very beginning, the follow-up, is the Crown Act discussion. The city attorney and I are going to meet this week and try to move that forward. I should have had it listed there and apologize that I didn't enter the text like I intended. A couple of meetings coming up. The 12th, the Parks and Rec workshop. Work through the presentation a little bit today, and also initial comprehensive plan discussion with Ms. Jerry beginning at 9 a.m. On the 18th, there will be a joint city-county comprehensive plan workshop at Intercounty beginning at 9 a.m. And when I say joint city-county, that's all the cities within Boyle County should be in attendance. And again, the 24th is a regular commission meeting. And I think that's all for currently scheduled meetings. Of course, the downtown streetscape is still ongoing. The software transition for utility billing. If you were in City Hall earlier, you'll notice how many folks were in the lobby. And so that is, we're working through that transition, and we really appreciate our customers being patient with us as we process that as well. There has been significant patience demonstrated today by citizens as they've tried to pay their bills in a timely fashion. The special activities, we're working on consolidating the budget book. I know that that's a little bit behind, but with vacations, for example, we have management team missing this week. We'll get through that. Then couple things that we need to do. Number one is you have in your packet a request by the Kentucky Housing Corporation for a development that is in the main to receive housing credits. Technically, the city has to approve of that, and certainly it's something we don't see a reason why you wouldn't, but it does require the mayor's signature, and I'd ask that you take a minute to authorize us for him to sign the support of this application, support of these tax credits. We don't always require a signature not always the mayor, not always permission from the mayor's position, but in this case, we felt like after looking at the form, a voice vote would be sufficient.
Earl, do you know kind of what they're planning? It's kind of vague, but maybe it's supposed to be vague, I'm not sure. But
The development plan has been filed originally for the zone change at planning and zoning. I think they're just now getting to the point where they're looking at the tax credits and implementation. There's a paragraph that describes the project on the signature page, additional comments. So they're describing the application to approve construction of 40 units in Danville. 34 units will target seniors 55 and older. 6 units will target survivors of domestic violence. And I think that will, to go into it, there will be 4 sixplexes, 4 fourplex garden-style apartment buildings, each having a one-car garage. And so unless you want to go into it further, that's
no,
kind
I
of the
guess
scope.
that's what I kind of wanted
Yeah.
everybody to get, so thank you.
Yeah.
We need to have a motion on approval for the mayor to sign the letter for the tax incentives.
It's a letter of support.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor of the mayor signing this letter, say aye.
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 Opposed?
And I don't want to make a habit of asking for motions during the city manager report, but we have the last couple times, and so we apologize for that. And it's purely, like I said, for the letter of support concept, seemed like a reasonable thing to do in this format, given their schedule that they'd asked for it. Stone fence maintenance, we wanted to make you aware, and I think the CVB director had emailed it out earlier today, that we had gotten a letter from the CVB requesting some additional maintenance coming into town. Josh, the city engineer, and I had went around even today to talk about the intersection at Houstonville Road and the bypass, and, that's just overgrown also. And so things like this are interesting for us because we do see them as a gateway into the community, and we do want that to be presentable. We've been part of ideas to clean up the fence, particularly on Maple Avenue before. And so it's something that we will want to confirm for you, that we will engage with Mr. Clinton, who's here today, in that idea and seeing really what we can flesh out of it. Just wanted to follow up, let you know we did receive that, and we will follow up with those folks. And I mentioned the bypass cleaning. And so what I would like to do is, if you'll recall, the south side of the bypass, when Farmers Bank went in, some of you may not remember, but Farmers Bank did the landscaping on the south, or on the north side of that retention basin. The retention basin was put in by the city. It was a fill area created by roadway construction. The city converted that to a retention basin. So if you've driven by that, you'll see from time to time it holding water. the city put on an outlet structure to retain that water. Those four corners of that intersection all perform a service for the downstream neighborhoods of Longview and Kerrigan and that entire watershed in that direction down towards Clark's Run. If you'd like to look at it on the map, it's that west of Houstonville Road and north of the bypass to the Clark's Run Creek. That side is really commercial development. The impact of commercial development on floodways is mitigated by the drainage around that intersection. And what we'd like to do is clean up some of the areas. That's also where Drake's is going. And so what we'd like to do is clean up that intersection a little bit by removing and working with the property owners to not just remove it, once we can remove it, to try to maintain it. All of those areas are on state right-of-way. Typically, we don't maintain that state right-of-way, but because it is in our drainage way and because it impacts our runoff, we are very aware of it. And so just please be aware that we're going to be working on that intersection to clean that up, and the purpose of it is because it impacts our stormwater system. The side benefit is the economic development side, meaning it will enhance the visibility of Danville and the appearance of Danville, the sightliness of Danville as you come into that significant intersection into town. And so we'll start with that, but we often, like we mentioned on Maple Avenue, look for those areas to try to take those to beautification committee to see if there's something we need to do to those. From time to time, we've asked there, and so just bear that in mind, and if you see city workers out there near that intersection or our contractors, that's why.
I'd like
That's
to
all I have
comment
for
too,
tonight.
Earl.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Sorry, I thought you were done.
No, I am. Yeah.
That it's great we're going to take this on. I think there's been some conversation in the past at the county. You might want to reach out so the whole load isn't on Josh's shoulders.
Right.
They would be agreeable to helping out with cleaning up as well.
Good,
Certainly
that's
the
good.
city's in the county.
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
And the state as well, I guess,
yeah.
to be reached out to. Mr. City Manager, you gave a date of July the 18th for the joint comp plan meeting.
Yes.
I missed the time and the location.
It's at Intercounty at 9 a.m.
Thank you, sir. It's going to be basically all day.
I'm planning for it to last several hours through in the afternoon past lunch.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments to the city manager? Hearing none, we'll move right along to the next item. It's Hear the Public, and this is where the public can come to the microphone after being recognized and can talk to the commission. We ask you to limit your comments to 3 minutes or less, and we'll move right along. Anyone desiring to speak to the commission tonight? Seeing none, we'll move right along to the next item, which is commissioner comments.
I had one. I don't know who made it out to the 4th of July. Nobody is here today from Parks and Rec, but wow, the volunteers did a great job with the bouncy houses and the food trucks. Several even sold out of food. It was a great time. So just wanted to thank the staff for going above and beyond from 5 till very late. So thank you.
10:30 or so, yeah. Comment on the fireworks?
Very long.
Yeah, very beautiful, yeah. Well, if you were in Lexington that night, theirs lasted a long 13 minutes. Yeah, they were really upset in Lexington about the fireworks. Yeah. Somebody called me and said, our fireworks just ended. I said, what? Ours is just getting going. Okay, let's move right along.
I wanted
Any other
to-
comments? I'm sorry.
I just wanted to say, welcome to the kids from Carrick Fergus at West T Hill, and hopefully we can get them maybe to the next commission meeting. I talked to Karen, and she thought that'd be, to welcome them here.
Could I put in a plug for Ready for Kindergarten Camp, which is an initiative by the, Alethea and some of the folks at the forget the name of it, Mayor, what is that? Regional Collaborative Partnership. But anyway, this is a camp that helps kids that are going into kindergarten, kind of prepares them and gets them ready, which is very important if you've ever read anything about early childhood education. So, but the issue is that the last I heard, they had 35 kids signed up. They had one volunteer. So my plea is for, if you can, volunteer. You don't have to volunteer for the week. You can volunteer for the day. So I told them they were supposed to have somebody here to make their plea, but she was unable to attend. So if you have any other questions, just holler and I'll find out for you. And I have volunteer forms right here if you need them. Thank you.
And you have one form already completed, right?
I have my own.
All right, there you go. Okay, other commissioner comments?
I always like to do a little shout out for things that are going well in our community, which is a lot of them, and the arts are well and alive. You know, there's always activity at Arts Center, the Bluegrass, and Boyle County Public Library, but it's interesting to me that both Pioneer Playhouse and West T Hill have productions at the same time and are staying busy. So I think people are realizing that we're all about the arts. Downtown Downbeat was also successful, so doing my little flag waving.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? If not, let's move on to the next item, and that's item number 11, the payment of the bills. Is there a motion to pay the bills? Pay the bill list? Nah. All right. So not gonna pay our bills for the month of.
I move for approval of the payment of the bills in the amount of $1,191,816.49 as presented.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Yeah, thanks, Kevin, that's a long number. I'll second it.
I thought it was like your bank account, isn't it?
Did you notice Lee Compton's face when nobody made a motion? She went like, okay. All that work for nothing, right? Thank you all. Any other questions or comments about the bills? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Next item, number 12, Resolution 2023-07-1002, Invoice Cloud Agreement Annex. Ms. Compton.
Yes, so with our new billing system, when the new payment portal for electronic payments online goes into effect, which I believe it'll be, we're currently looking around August for that portion, we have to agree to abide by the Amex, American Express rules for processing payments. If customers want to pay via Amex, we have to abide by a certain set of rules, you know, protecting card information and things like that. And for us to process Amex payments, American Express payments, we have to agree to the terms and condition of the annex to this agreement.
Thank you, ma'am. Well, let's get a motion first. Is there a motion to?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2023-07-1002.
Thank you, ma'am.
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. Questions or comments?
Oh, the one comment. So what's the only free way to pay the bill? Just the
So-
bank draft or?
You can sign up for an ACH payment with city employees. So if you call the water office and the city folks can take your banking information, your bank account number, and your routing number, and set you up for an automatic ACH, then that is completely free. If you elect to do that yourself, some people are more comfortable doing that themselves and not providing that information to other people. So you'll be able to do that through the portal once it's available. That will charge a fee, since that's a third party will be doing the processing for that. And then card payments, credit card payments will also have a fee associated, which our current processor, we have a fee with that as well for card payments, and current ACH payments are still free.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And always check, cash check, or money order are free.
And the line was long all day today, man. Whew. Yep, that's good. Yep. Okay, all those in favor of this resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. The longer-awaited item number 13. Josh Morgan.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. You have in front of you a written update, and I think I'll get with Melanie tomorrow, and we will kind of maybe pare this down a little bit and post this to the public, so they kind of have in their, they know what we know. Progress is slowed a little bit. I've got to compare it. The area they're in now, we have a lot more drainage issues than we anticipated. Is that better? Yeah. We had a lot more drainage issues in that area than we anticipated. We ran into some old drainage that we were unaware was there, and those kind of things when you work downtown that slowed us down a little bit. Hopefully we've gotten out of that area. We're hoping to be able to make some progress there on the intersection of 2nd and Main, but we are aware of some drainage in that area that there's a lot of unknowns to it just because it's really old. So hopefully that doesn't slow us down as we start working on the intersection, but that could possibly delay that. Kind of getting to some of the bigger components. So they're almost done pouring all of the paver base, so the concrete that the pavers sit on. The area there in front of Dr. Spoonmore's office, kind of the last section of that they have to do for the whole project. So we anticipate the paver subcontractor coming back next week is the hope, and starting to wrap up their work. So we think the pavers will be completed by the end of July is our goal right now. So then now they'll start working on the corners of 2nd and Main. I know the anchor bolts are supposed to arrive this week for the traffic signal mast arms, which is one of the big items we're waiting on, so they can start finalizing those corners and install the mast arm bases as they do it. So those will be in by the end of this week. The 14th was the delivery date on those. So they can start finalizing those 2nd Street intersections. I think conservatively, middle of August to get those intersections done. We've asked them to go ahead and try to wrap up those intersections so we can get them off of Main Street and get Main Street working normal again. And then once they complete that, they'll move to South 3rd, and they'll work on the sidewalks on both sides of South 3rd from Main down to about halfway to Walnut, there where it enters into Farmers Bank and when it gets to the parking garage. Those sections do not have underground utilities that we're installing, do not have drainage that we're installing. So, hopefully those move a little quicker. But, depending on when they get done there at 2nd Street, they'll move over to those. And those should take 2 or 3 weeks on those sections. But they'll be off of Main Street. They'll finish the corner over there at the hub when they do those areas. And then they'll move from there to North 4th, and they'll do the west side of North 4th, which is Sherwin-Williams Subway, that section. We're still working out some right-of-way issues there, trying to get all the property owners on board, because the property is odd on that block. Their property extends a couple of the properties, it goes all the way to the back of curb, which is different than anywhere else you'll see in a downtown setting. Usually it's back of sidewalk. So to work on those sidewalks, we need to get right-of-way from those property owners. They need to some way transfer that to the city for us legally to be able to do the work. And then we have some other right-of-way issues down on the Gypsy Run property, those kind of properties. There's some other things there we're working out. But that's still, we still have, we think it'll be early August to mid-August before they start working on those sections. And so we have some time to resolve those. Hopefully we'll have some information to you all at the next commission meeting. Street lights have been delivered. They're here. They finished pulling wire for them last week. It's one of those things they're looking at their schedule. They're trying to get some other electrical stuff done down there where they're working at Second Street, so they're not putting lights up, but I really want them to put some lights up. So we're going to lean on them a little bit to try maybe next week to start putting some street lights up just so people can start seeing that finished product. But they'll continue to install those as sidewalks are completed, as the project goes along. The fountain area is coming along well. I think they'll be setting the fountain itself probably next week. They have on their schedule to have that area done by the end of the month. That means the pavers and everything as well around. You can see the seat walls. The seat walls are finished. The bowl is finished. So that's moving along well. Overhead utilities, they have, most of the overhead utilities are already transferred to their underground service. I know AT&T has. KU is still buttoning up some final issues. We anticipated those overhead lines to start to come down around now, but I think it's going to be a couple of more weeks before they'll start coming down. But I think that will start occurring soon. It's kind of, and I want to, all of that is in the utility company's court. Once we got the underground conduit in, we just handed that over to them, and it's their schedule. It's their, they're kind of working at their own pace to get stuff done. And I know they're dealing with a lot of property owners and businesses and customers along those routes that they're having to coordinate these outages with as they shift over from overhead to underground. Site furnishings are here. They've been delivered, and I think they're just kind of waiting to install those as the project starts to wrap up and they have some time available. They've got all of their workers working pretty hard on the sidewalks right now. So all the furnishings, all the benches, trash cans, the planters, they're all sitting down at the Public Works garage ready to be installed. It's just finding the right time to do that. A traffic signal mast arms, that's the item that's been delayed the most through the project from a delivery standpoint, but they're scheduled to be here early October is the goal. But we can wrap everything else up, and that's our goal, is to get everything else up. You'll just have the anchor bolts, kind of like with the street lights you see now. We'll have just that with the traffic signal mast arms. The old ones will stay in place until we come in and do that. So that's why I'm kind of, we've talked a little bit about ribbon cuttings and everything, and when this, I want to wait till the project's completely done. We've talked about it. I mean, we're looking at really like they're out of here done. We're looking at a November date for that right now. But I think Main Street's back to normal. Main Street traffic, Main Street parking is really back to normal within the next, 5 to 6 weeks, I would say. And that's being conservative, knowing how long things have taken them, how much longer things have taken them than we thought it would when they got to some of these blocks where we were like, okay, now we're getting to make progress, and it just slowed down again. So trying to be conservative with those estimates. But I think one of the good things is that they're just a couple of days away from being able to get the parking there on 2nd to 3rd on Main open back up again completely. We got about half of it opened up over the weekend, but the rest should be opened up in the next few days. I've got a section in here about trees. You all got an email. Earl forwarded you all an email about trees, just kind of give you kind of the perspective of the contractor and their subcontractor about the trees. They know they have issues with some of them. Currently, the watering and the maintenance of those trees is their responsibility until we reach final completion. So they're in charge of all those items. If one dies, it's their responsibility to replace, but it's also their prerogative about how they go about doing that. So some of those trees, they're kind of leaving in place until the fall, because now's not a good time to plant a tree anyway. So they're kind of keeping an eye on them. If they don't make it, they'll come back in the fall and make sure all those get replaced before we close the project out. But I wanted you all to see that information. And then if you flip over on the back, that was just that email put on this paper. And then we wanted to talk about downtown parking some. It's been a big part of every conversation I have downtown about this project, because for the most part, we've kept the streets running fairly normal traffic flow, other than some issues with some signals, off and on throughout. And we've kept doors open, but the thing that seems to have impacted everybody the most has been parking availability, and we've put a lot more thought into that. I've got some information here about parking garage usage is going up, which is a good thing. We'll keep an eye on that. I got the June data today, and it's not as high as it was in May, but it's still higher than anything we've seen previously for the past 3 years. I don't have pre-COVID data, but I have data since 2021, and we're definitely trending up right now. But I wanted to just put this in front of you all so you all could look at it as we wind down streetscape. We're going to start, as staff, continue to talk about what's the next big steps for us with parking. We've tried out some things during construction that have been successful as far as the surface lots, putting some public parking in those. The people have really appreciated. Parking garage itself, I think we'll see how the 2-hour free impacted it as we roll out of the streetscape project. And then, we need to look at some innovative ways, because I walk downtown once or twice a day, all the way up and down, looking at the project and thinking about parking and thinking about where people are, or how people are using downtown. And there's parking downtown. It's sometimes hard to identify. And I think that's one thing we talk a lot about. It's going to be signage, and it's going to be, there's some modern technology that we can help people that are able to use those kind of things, that could direct people to where things are. So that's something as we kind of get out of the project, we're gonna really identify the big ways we can overhaul our, not necessarily overhaul where people park downtown, but how they use the parking downtown and how they find parking downtown. So I just wanted to make sure people were aware that we're working on that, because that seems to be the big thing that impacts. It's not foot traffic, it's not vehicular traffic, it's where people park their cars. So
One of the businesses actually have approached us about considering valet parking, and so we'll be talking about how that's incorporated, not city ran, but how do they have valet parking and themselves? And so we're trying to approach things like that with an open mind, and just to see what ideas can be fleshed out and be credible.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Give me your keys.
We've had some conversations. I mean, you go to places like Louisville now, and there's just valet parking everywhere, and there's companies that have fine-tuned that process. And it's, there seems to be a fairly affordable option for businesses to do. So it's something that we're going to explore downtown and see what we can do. Do y'all have any questions? I guess is my last.
I appreciate the update.
I do too. So when does Department of Transportation play in with paving and relining the streets?
Yes, so the paving, that's something we're doing. That's part of the contract is for the Allen Company to come back in and mill and pave pretty much all of downtown. They're kind of just waiting for us to give them the go-ahead, waiting for our contractor. The more curb we can have in place when they come do that, the less times they have to be here. So we're kind of holding them off as long as we can, trying to balance that. I don't want to wait till November to do this paving. We've tentatively got them on the schedule for the end of this month, and they'll do that overnight. They'll come in overnight, do the milling, do the paving, and that's when all the new striping will go in. We'll get 4th Street back to 2 lanes, South 4th. So that should happen. We've tentatively got them on the schedule in the month. That may push into early August, but we're trying to get that done as soon as we can.
Yep, that's good news, because most of the complaints I get, I think people are confused because of the old lines. And now hit curbs because they're following a line and it doesn't work anymore.
I appreciate the update. I've been downtown talking to people, and I think the biggest problem I hear is, it was promised last year, and it was promised in June, and it was promised in July. And they just want it to be finished. I understand they're tired. It's been a long time. And I think if they knew a date definite that they could say, hey, this is when I expect it to be done, and it sort of get there, it would be good. I don't like hearing November,
That's Earl and I talked a lot about that today. We talked a lot about how we communicate to the public our construction schedules, because you always have, you have your goal that you start out with, and your goal's important when you start, because that's what's driving your contractor's cost and your contractor's initial scheduling and how they're dealing with subcontractors. But you kind of know, most public projects are gonna run a little over that time. So it's a balance of like, hey, this is June 1st was our goal. June 1st was always the goal. And it was what we pushed our contractor for, and that's why we ended up with a really good, I think that's a contractor that's done a really good job, because we kind of scared off the contractors that they saw that June 1st date, and it scared off a lot of other contractors. So we've leaned on them the entire time, June 1st, June 1st, June 1st, until June 1st wasn't happening. And then it was, okay, now July 1st, and we leaned on them to get that. And, it's tough because they've been here every day working. I don't know a lot of ways we could have sped it up, and that's what I've kind of tried to express to people when I've talked to them. They've been here every day. They've done the work. They're very detail oriented, which I think will be something we'll be happy about when it's done. And we don't have puddles standing places, and we don't have issues that are long maintenance issues for us. They've been very detail oriented, which I think has slowed them down some. We wanted to answer a lot of questions before they did the work. But it's really tough because, we've got this date we want to hit, but in the back of our minds, I think it's hard to communicate to the public of, okay, this is our contractor date, but y'all really don't need to expect it until 2 or 3 months later. But we'll try to do. I'm going to do a better job of that in the future. Of, hey, I'm going to have a conversation with our contractor. This is your contract date. And I'm kind of getting in the weeds a little bit now, but the other part that makes that difficult is COVID has made holding contractors to a completion date really difficult because of lingering material deliveries and things like that. When used to be, you could say, all right, if you're not done by June 1st, you're going to get liquidated damages. And just the market right now it's hard to enforce those. I mean, impossible, but I would say, nearly impossible to enforce those rules until you get a certain way through the project and you're like, all right, now we have everything. Let's set a date and you're going to be done by this date. So it's made it really hard to say, okay, June 1st, you're going to be done and out of here. And even projects that you have liquidated damages, that doesn't actually, usually that date gets pushed by, circumstances that we were unaware of, they were unaware of. Like we paused for Christmas, we have, 3 weeks of rain in January, those kind of things are always going to push those dates contractually. So I think I need to do a better job of setting the community's expectations of, hey, this June 1st is all of our goal, but don't be surprised if it's October 1st, which is a long way. It's a big difference, which we've seen with this project, how it can linger that long without it being anybody's, no fault of anyone's, just the nature of a project, which is a very niche, specialized project that it's hard for our consultant. I've had conversations with a consultant about this. They're the ones that tell us how long they think it's going to take. They're like, hey, because they're the experts. They've done other streetscape projects. They've done other projects like this. Something, staff here, we've never done anything on this scale like this. They're telling us a date, but every one of these projects like this streetscape project is going to be different. It's not like building a building where it's like, okay, we got to start from this and we work through the process and we know how long those take. With the streetscape project, it very much is, okay, what are our particular circumstances for this block and for the buildings and for this town? So like I've joked before, it's a lot of lessons learned that I hope I don't have to ever use again, because they won't have another project like this as long as I stay here. So hopefully I can pass the advice along to other towns that try to do something like this. But
one of the other risks, Josh, too, is say this: if we give the contractor a date of June 1st and Josh verbalizes in public at the same time saying, but we really think they'll end up in the end of September, I guarantee you they're going to end up at the end of September, because they're just going to work their schedule. And then if they have another project somewhere else that they're getting pressure on, they'll say, well, these guys really are expecting it in September, so we can pull off this job for a few weeks and go there. So you do want to project your schedule and stick to that schedule and pound that schedule and keep after that date until it's past that date, until you're there and you say, okay, reassess, because you're not done. Because otherwise you're guaranteeing yourself to hit that September date, not the June date. And then if they're late, it really is November or December. And so that's a very complicated thing that seems like it should not be. But it is, because they're balancing 4 or 5 jobs like this with the same labor, with the same subs, and the other subs have 4 or 5 different jobs. And so it is a choreographed and coordinated effort amongst many different companies. You can see the conversation with the tree contractor in that the prime contractor didn't even know his sub was on the job looking at the trees, right? And then the email documented the fact that he was there and had strong opinions about it and supported some of the ideas. So just be aware that that's always going to come into play too. We're going to have to be very vocal publicly about a schedule. That's what we think they'll hit, and that doesn't mean that they always will.
Thank you, guys. Josh, thank you for that update.
Yeah, thank you all.
Let's
Can I
move
make
to
one more comment, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I know it's gotten lengthy. I heard you say you might put 4th Street back to 2 lanes. And I hope that you'll be working with the Allen Company on safety, because you got 2 really vibrant businesses there, and I see a lot of foot traffic. I've been monitoring it, and it almost becomes a drag strip coming off the traffic light. So whatever you can do with Chief Gray there to try to.
One thing that's going
that
to help
would
us a
be
lot,
great.
that since we switched the parking on that block from the right-hand side to the left-hand side, once you go through that signal at Walnut, we're going to have to shift because all the parking's on the right-hand side past that signal. So after you go through Walnut, there'll be a lane shift over, which is a natural traffic calming device that will slow traffic down through that intersection. You won't see if you're in that right-hand lane, you'll see the back of a parked car down at the next block instead of a straight shot all the way down to the creek. And it helps as you approach that crosswalk as well, hopefully slow down traffic a little bit. So yeah, it's that I hate the lane, in a way I don't like the lane shift because it's kind of something that's unnatural for folks, but it also will slow traffic down. You know, it'll be a traffic calming measure. So, yeah, thank you.
Sorry, Mayor, I just thought that was important to talk
That's okay.
about.
No, well, that's why we're here, to let everybody ask their questions, make their comments. I just, when there's a lull in the discussion, I like to move us on, but. Any other comments or questions for the streetscape update? Let's go to the next item, item number 14. Ms. Hafley, you've been waiting very patiently. You're going to close us out tonight.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. This is, I kind of tried to work with the vendors on this to get all this kind of put together, to get it all done and at once, because some of these were due actually at the end of the last fiscal year. So the first one is the AKA Associates contract. They're our vendor for our call taking, admin, and 911 lines. And this is a 1-year Elite Premier maintenance contract that includes weekly site visits in the amount of $38,300.
Okay. You said excuse me, you said weekly site visits?
Weekly, they
Ah,
come
okay.
and reset everything and check.
I'll move to accept Resolution 2023-07-1003, and then I have some questions.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right. Then you have a question?
Yeah, my questions are, you've got basically 3 resolutions here for you and 9/11. I guess you need to educate me on why isn't one package instead of 3?
Because they're different vendors, different equipment. So the AKA Associates contract and the AKA Associates support contract, the support when we moved here in 2018 was including the first 1 to 5 years. So this is kind of a new support. Otherwise, that would have been included in the $38,300. But as the equipment gets a little bit older, we do kind of some upgrades and stuff. But it's on the hardware and the software, and the hardware and software was included in the Elite Premier maintenance for years 1 through 5.
Other questions? Excuse me.
I mean, I can go ahead and talk about all of them if you wanted to.
Pardon me?
I can speak about all of them now if you wanted to.
That's all right. I think we want to move through it. I was looking at it, and software support, hardware and software support's almost similar to PM's add moves and upgrades. So I got a little confused there on why they couldn't bundle at least AK Associates.
Yeah, I think it's
Bundle
also
that
with
for you.
the Solacom is the system that we use, and AKA Associates takes care of that system. It's kind of like with the recorder maintenance. Eventide is our recorder, but we go through Applied Digital Solutions to do the maintenance and the upgrades and everything on that.
All right. Do we have a motion?
We do, we have a second.
We have a second? Okay. All those in favor of 2307-1003, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Move right along. Yes, ma'am. The next one, please.
Was that the support contract or just the associate contract?
This one
I
says,
thought I had my
AK Associates Saloncom support.
Solacom support
Solacom,
contract.
yes, ma'am.
Yes, this is for the, again, it's over our call-taking vendor, and it's a year of hardware and software support where it used to be included in the first 5 years.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2023-07-1004.
Thank you, ma'am.
Second.
I will say that is in the amount of $14,935.74.
And all this was in your budget? for-
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. The third one is
Hold on,
our,
wait a minute.
All those in favor?
go ahead, sorry.
I'm like you, let's get them done, right?
I'm trying to get you done.
Okay, we have a motion on this one already, right? So let's
Second.
vote on this one too, right? Okay, all those in favor of 07-1004, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Yes, ma'am. The next one is Bluegrass Ed contract.
Yes, the Bluegrass Ad Contract is our vendor for our mapping, and they work with our CAD and do quarterly site visits for updates, for like new addresses, new streets. We also they did our aerials.
Wow, okay. You want to tell us the price on that one?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's in the amount of $10,000.
All right. We knew that, but the public didn't know. Okay. Is there a motion on this one?
I'll move to approve Resolution 2023-07-1005.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a
Second.
All right. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? No.
I do have a question. So Bluegrass Ad, do they have the best price on mapping?
I don't know that we have checked on pricing, but they're the ones that's always, they do our current mapping, so they have all like the layers that we use, the ESNs
Okay,
and
because is that the group that kind of does it at cost? I was thinking that was.
mainly, yes.
Okay.
I think, I'd say probably Josh does some work with them maybe, but this is
Yeah.
strictly, and I think it may even include maps for you all.
Yeah, they'll be pretty affordable. I mean, compared to private sector, I mean, they're
Okay.
going to be slightly more
I just
affordable.
wanted to confirm that. Thank you.
I know this has been the price for at least 2, if not 2 to 5 years. Yeah.
We have a motion on that? All those in favor? Yeah.
I
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, all right, one more. 07-1006, this is the wide digital solutions contract.
Yes, this is our vendor for our recorder, and this is a 1-year service contract, and this also includes 24/7 service and includes the parts and labor for any upgrades or hardware, software. And it's in the amount of $7,886.61.
I'll move to accept Resolution 2023-07-1006.
Second.
Any other questions, comments?
Yeah, this being the fourth in your presentation, I do want you to know that I think that you guys do a great job, and 9/11 is very important to this community. I just was really confused by all the different vendors. Seems like somebody would come together and play for one for you.
Yeah, and there's actually a lot more than this. So, because we also have our CAD vendor, which is GeoConnects, and we're eventually going to have the vendor that does the text to 911. That will be a fee. It's a very expensive business, but like you said, it's very important to the community and responders.
All those in favor of 06?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I'm fine.
Move, we adjourn.
Make a motion to good?
Adjourn.
Yeah, right, okay, go ahead. See how that part?
We have, take it, we have a, of course we do.
Look at that smile on their faces.
What do we got?
Personnel.
Personnel?
Oh. So someone moved to go into executive session for personnel with a 5-minute limit.
Is this your way of making us feel important by having executive sessions?
No, come on. Is there a motion for executive session?
I'll make a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel matter pursuant to KRS 61-810-1F.
Second?
Come on. Thank you all. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're out of executive session. Mr. City Commissioner? Oh, City Manager? I took care of it, didn't I? Oh, man.
Staff is going to ask you to accept the resignation of Dakota Messenger from the position of firefighter.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Nay.
His last day of employment will be 7/10. Staff is recommending the hiring of Dustin Hager to the position of wastewater treatment operator trainee.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? There's time for a motion to adjourn.
No. One more?
SRO.
Yes, we want to, yes, that's not written down. You threw me for a loop. Thank you for catching that, Donna. I appreciate that. Yes, we want to accept the reassignment of Todd Davis from a full-time position of a police officer to a
Season.
seasonal SRO for schools,
Is
So
there a-
moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
effective August 1st, right, Chief? Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah. Are we ready for,
Thank you for that catch, yes.
You're welcome.
I move for adjournment.
is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.